What is social psychology? Have you ever noticed how you're not the same person everywhere you go? How you might be confident when you're alone, but quieter in a group? How you might stand up for yourself with friends, but stay silent at work? How sometimes you go along with things you don't even agree with? That's not weakness. That's not inconsistency. That's social psychology. Social psychology is the study of how other people, groups, and society influence the way we think, feel, and behave, often without us even realizing it. It looks at how our identity is shaped by the people around us, how our decisions are influenced by groups, how culture, norms, and expectations quietly guide our behavior. In simple terms, it asks this question: how much of you is actually shaped by others? Most of us grow up believing that our behavior comes from our personality, that we act the way we act because that's just who we are. But social psychology challenges that idea. It shows us that behavior is not only about personality, it's about situation. Context, pressure, environment. Put the same person in different situations, and their behavior can change dramatically. Not because they suddenly became a different person, but because the rules of the environment changed. Think about it. You behave one way at home, another way at work, another way online, another way in public. Same brain, same values, different setting. Social psychology studies why that happens. It studies how group pressure can make people conform, how authority can make ordinary people obey orders they would normally question, how social approval can be more powerful than logic, how fear of rejection can silence people. And this matters, because these influences shape real lives. Social psychology helps explain why bullying spreads in groups, why propaganda works, why crowds behave differently than individuals, why social media changes how people think, speak, and act, why good people can sometimes participate in harmful systems. And here's an important shift it makes. Instead of asking, what's wrong with that person? It asks, what pressures were they under? This doesn't remove responsibility, but it adds understanding. It helps us see that many behaviors are learned, reinforced, and rewarded by social systems. And if behavior is shaped by systems, then behavior can change when systems change. That's powerful. Because it means you are not broken. You adapted. You responded to what was around you. And awareness gives you choice. Once you understand how influence works, you can start to notice it. You can question it. You can resist it, or consciously choose what influences you allow. That's why social psychology isn't just academic. It's practical. It affects relationships, leadership, culture, justice, and healing. This series will slowly build from the foundations: how we become social beings, how influence works, how groups shape identity, and how awareness gives power back to the individual. This is episode 1 of our social psychology series. In the next episode, we'll explore why humans are wired to be social in the first place, and why isolation affects us far more deeply than we're taught to admit. Follow to continue the journey.